this topic is really interesting to me because I have two kids. One of them is in a public school, and another one is going to be going to a public school in the next year or two. And I've been a science and technology teacher for a decade now. I teach in a low income school district in California. We were one of the first school districts to use one-to-one Chromebooks, which was a new technology when I was first getting started. So while California and other states were implementing one-to-one Chromebooks, I became one of the first teachers in California to become a Google certified innovator. And I went around the country and the state and the local area teaching other teachers how to use Chromebooks in their classroom. So I have a lot of experience implementing these new technologies in a classroom. In order to understand how learning will change, what it means to be a student will change, what it means to be a teacher will change, and how the education system will function in the future, I think it's kind of important to think about what education is and how we got to the place where we are. Going back to our ancient history, our prehistoric past, the word prehistoric is very interesting because it's very much tied to literacy and learning and writing things down. Prehistory is a reference to the time before writing was ubiquitous, and writing was the way that we passed down information. We used to have an oral history where we would tell stories, but after a certain group of people was able to use language, written form of language, writing, then we turned into like actual history where we have recorded documents and things like that. In ancient history, when people were hunter gatherers, we didn't have enough surplus to make keeping records an important thing. But as soon as we moved into an agricultural society where we were able to have a surplus of calories, then we needed to be able to track who owned those calories. It became so important that there was a class of humans. They were in ancient Egypt. They were like the priest class, the religious class, which is also like the government bureaucracy. They needed to keep track of taxes. They needed to keep track of who owed what to whom, and they needed to be able to document these things. So in ancient history, scholars and priests needed to learn to read and write. So they would be chosen at a very young age, and then they would be indoctrinated into like a certain guild or a certain organization. They were educated to be able to do math and reading and writing. So only a very small percentage of the population needed to do that. So the next phase of education happened where we had philosopher kings. So these were basically royalty who had scholars who gave them personalized training for them to be able to be good rulers. So the best example of that is Alexander the Great. From a very young age, Alexander the Great had access to like all these different tutors, people that taught him how to fight, people that taught him how to ride horses, people that taught him how to govern. And one of his tutors was actually Plato. One of the most important thinkers in society was actually Alexander's teacher. So that was like the age of personalized learning and education. So moving forward into the future, we go into the Enlightenment era. Ships sailing around, moving goods from one country to another country. Great empires like Great Britain, Spain, the Ottoman Empire, China started using ships to be able to move products all over the world, and we developed the banking system. This is the time when the printing press was invented. Interesting philosophies on money was invented. During this time, a very interesting way of getting educated became available, and this was the idea of getting apprenticeships. A young person would pretty much indenture themselves to a master. The young person would work for that master for like a certain amount of time. Usually it was like 10 years. And in return, the master would kind of teach them all the skills that they have and would provide them the tools to learn those skills in their workshop. The master would get a pretty much free labor, and the student would get access to tools and knowledge and mentorship. The next evolution of the education system came during the Industrial Revolution, when America and Europe was going from a agricultural society into a more of a industrial society. We needed people to move out of the rural areas into cities to go work in a factory setting type of environment where they had like a very specialized knowledge, doing something very repetitive over a long period of time in order to produce value to the factory, which then the factory can sell into the economy. That's kind of the big idea of the Industrial Revolution. We were able to produce interchangeable parts, but in order to create interchangeable parts, we needed to have interchangeable workers. As people were going to work, their children needed something to do. So the robber barons of that time made a deal with government, we're not going to do child labor anymore. But these kids, they'd be like trained to sit in one place, to follow directions very well, and they would have the basics of reading and writing in order to follow the directions that the company needed them to do. So that system of the industrial school system still exists to this day. We process kids every year, just like products get graded from A to F. The kids also get graded and then go to the next part of the assembly system, from first grade to second grade to third grade to fourth grade to fifth grade, all the way to 12th grade. And then they come out as like a fully formed product that can go and fit into the industrial system as a cog in the machine. The only difference between the system that existed during the industrial age and the age that we live now, which is the information age, is the products that the workers created were physical products. And these products were made better by using machines. Now, moving into the information age, the age that we're living in now, we're training these workers to become knowledge workers. They were being taught to use tools to create value with their mind, to use information to create more value. These are like doctors, lawyers, accountants, teachers, inventors, software programmers. All these people, they use their brain, and we use some tools to create value for society. And that is kind of coming to an end with the intelligence revolutions that we're about to enter into. This transition over the next couple of decades, I think schools are going to change, students are going to change, what it means to be a teacher is going to change, and how this whole thing functions will change. I think we're going to move more into a one-room schoolhouse model of education system. We had a building in like the center of the village or the town where the kids would go. There would be one teacher, and that teacher would teach the kids all the things that they would need to become a useful person in society. In the intelligence age, schools are going to evolve into these one-room schoolhouses, but instead of it being one room, it's going to be a gigantic facility. The community will endow the school with cutting-edge tools that individuals wouldn't be able to purchase. Like a mom and dad's not going to be able to buy a kid a supercomputer because it's kind of too expensive, or like atomic printers, or like a biolab. Schools will become a maker space where the tools will be there. There'll be mentors that kind of guide the kids through whatever projects that they want to work on, where they will do lots of like team building, working collaboratively with others to solve real problems. First grade through fifth grade will be very similar to what it is now. The later grades will probably change to where there'll be a lot more independence. The personalized model, Alexander the Great had all these different tutors that taught him different things, will be a factor too, because AIs will be really, really good at personalized learning. Each kid will have a personalized AI system, or a couple of them, where the AI will know exactly how this kid thinks, the kid's deficits, thinking patterns, the things that the kids are interested in, who the kid is friendly with. Just a lot of personalized information that would facilitate learning a lot faster than like a human teacher would be able to do it. The role of a teacher in these one-room schoolhouses will be kind of like a facilitator, coach, camp counselor type of vibe. More and more of these schools will be places where the kids can learn social emotional skills more than the curriculum, because the social emotional skills are not something that you can learn individually. You can't sit in a room in front of a computer and learn how to be a better friend. You actually have to go out there and experiment and try to become a better friend. I actually have an idea for a school. It's like a summer camp where kids are playing D&D and exploring nature. But that's an idea for another video. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me in the comments what you think the future of education will look like. See you guys on the next one. Bye.